Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, and with Christmas comes Christmas movies. For the Crow's Nest this month, Jesse and I wanted to watch and analyze some of our favorite Christmas movies. That's what we'll be doing today, and the watching, reading, playing. I'll start with what did I watch, and that would be Klaus. Klaus is a wonderful movie if you haven't seen it. It came out in 2019. It gives some backstory or lore to a lot of the traditions we hold for Christmas. A great example would be something like, why do we give children coal if they're bad? But as you dig a little deeper, there's a lot of good character development. Our main character, Jesper, he is going on this journey of someone who really has no care for the world. He's spoiled and he's sent off to an unknown random island. It's quite endearing as he grows in himself and he learns to care for people. And then Klaus even has a really nice backstory to him. He's a bit of a crotchety old man and he learns to open himself up thanks to people like Jesper. It's really great. Basically, both of their stories have to do with Christmas and the tradition of bringing toys to children. I just loved watching this every year, mainly because of the just fun Christmas references, but also I just love coming back to mainly these two characters and seeing their growth. So Jesse, tell me what your Christmas movie is.
I watched Love Actually recently because despite it being kind of a silly romantic Christmas movie, it does some really interesting things with POV and intertwining plot lines. It's a movie with basically 10 storylines all going at the same time, and all of them interact with a different form of love: fading love, platonic love, familial love, a traditional love story, a love affair, more awkward love, and then everything in between. Love Actually is an interesting example to me of how any story, no matter how silly, you can do interesting things if you know how story structure works. This is an extremely ambitious movie of having 10 storylines all going at once and all having their independent conclusions and independent character arcs. And not all of them end happily. Some end really sad. And just by nature of being near each other, you get to see how different forms of love interact with each other and comparing and contrasting the two. Great, fantastic movie. Highly recommended if you haven't watched it.
As for our reading, I read I, Robot by Isaac Asimov. This is one I'm surprised I actually hadn't read, given Asimov is one of the classic science fiction writers. It's not very long. It's actually a collection of short stories by Asimov, just dealing with the nature of robots. It's very philosophical, so it's definitely in my wheelhouse. It reminded me why I love reading and why I love science fiction. It was so exciting, it was exhilarating, so I blew through it. I loved it. If you like heavy themes about human choice, really, and what is a human when you're talking about robots and artificial intelligence, really it revolves around Asimov's rules that he created for robots. He called them laws, and so robots couldn't basically break these laws that were built into them. He explored some really good questions. If a robot cannot harm a human and it supersedes this other law about protecting humans, things that get a little messy. It's not so clean cut. I just loved it. It challenged me, and highly recommend it.
So I just finished Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, and this book really showed me how interesting it is reading books that are not bound by Western story archetypes. For instance, the hero's journey is a story structure that's kind of like embedded in most Western storytellers. It's basically this idea of someone in a boring life that gets called to adventure. They go through a bunch of hardships. They have all of this great character change, and then they go home a better and different person. At its most simplest, it's just a story about change. And most Western stories follow this. Something like The Convenience Store Woman does not. This story is really just about a woman in a convenience store, and she thrives in this environment. And then a problem arises when she slowly starts conforming to societal norms, and her life starts to break down. She has to make the decision at the end whether she is going to fall to cultural expectations or if she is going to continue where she knows that she is needed. And it's really interesting reading these stories that don't necessarily fall into our ideas of what makes a good story. I would highly recommend for people to read outside of their native culture, because you will really get to see some unique stories from perspectives that you're not necessarily familiar with.
As for what I'm playing, for now my bulk of time has been spent with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The word that came to mind when trying to describe this game is immersive. It is a role-playing style game, but one thing that's so immersive about it is it feels so alive with historical context that's going on, the backdrop of it. It makes you feel like you're really inhabiting Bohemia in, I think it's the 14th century. The reason I love things like The Witcher 3 or Red Dead Redemption 2, those games are also incredibly immersive. Now, I think the argument can be made that it's less narrative driven if it's so immersive or open-ended in a sense, where player choice is coming into play. But I think that there's still a strong narrative backbone to something like Kingdom Come, where there's things like friendship are explored, rebellion, consequences to actions. There's so much to go over when it comes to the little stories in between as you go with Henry on his journey. Someone who's trying to discover himself even, and that's where I think it's really strong. It's not just some random player you get to create, but it is a real character in the universe that you're playing as. Something like God of War is another really strong game, one of my favorites, that is also very immersive for me, even though it is more linear. It's not necessarily just open role-play type game, but it's still so immersive because of the structure of the story, because of the world that these characters are inhabiting. It's all very detailed, it's very well described, and those are the kind of things that stick with me. Obviously, when you're writing a novel, you need to be very careful with, like, let's make sure the plot is staying on track, right? But also be conscious of all the other interacting parts that are going on in the world that you're creating. But when I'm looking at something like Kingdom Come, they pay so close attention to all the minute details, from different character interactions to just a regular person's day in the life. Credit to the medium of video games, where it can actually explore some of these things and breathe extra life into it. It's truly a really immersive experience that is worth trying out.
It's one of those games that I really want to get around to, but it's like basically a 400-hour investment that's hanging over my head. So maybe one day I'll get around to it. I just finished the Mass Effect series. I think, to go over it really quickly, Mass Effect is basically this story of humans joining the universe of aliens, and we're kind of like the last additions. The entire race of beings is threatened by this force called the Reapers. That is this mysterious machine force that threatens to end all life. Through it, you meet all kinds of companions and you do all these different side quests. The first one, not gonna lie, kind of felt like homework. It's the BioWare team, so they still feel like they're a little too attached to the KOTOR method. But by the second game, they're like off to the races. They have interesting story, interesting characters. Now, I do think there is something to be said about second movies don't have to set anything up and they don't have to end anything, so you can have a lot more fun. T2 in the Terminator series is seen as one of the best. You're just allowed to kind of spread your wings a little bit as a writer and have some fun, and you don't necessarily feel this weird weight to finish this 3-story epic. And then by the third, from what I understand, there was a bunch of crunch time and it pushed out the game probably earlier than it was meant to be. And it was sad to play because I could see those holes. The third game just felt empty. The fun just felt like it was kind of gone. And this is not anywhere more apparent than when you play the final DLC. And the final DLC had that extra time to put into the characters, and it was immediately obvious. This DLC was everything that I feel like the third game should have been. It had fun dialogue, all of these character interactions were back, Shepard actually felt like a character, and it just kind of made me sad that 3 was not given the time that it deserved. But I did still have an incredible time with all 3 games, and I'd happily play them again.
So that will do it for us on things that we're currently watching, reading, and playing. So let us know what you are currently getting into, and especially the Christmas ones. What Christmas movies are your favorites so that we can check out and enjoy ourselves? All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye. Hey guys, if you really like this video, check the one down below. You might like that one too.
And if you really like what you see, click here to subscribe.